G'day all, it's Colin from PCTLC and thanks for joining me. In this video we're going to be looking once again at Debian 10 Buster. This time it will be the graphical install. So we're going to have a look at the graphical, so that's this one here. So let's scale that. So English, let's use the mouse. Location. Australia, American English for keyboard. So as you can see, there's not a huge amount of difference between the two installers. This one's just a little bit easier on the eyes, I suppose you could say, as far as eye candy is concerned. Okay, successful internet that time. The first one I did with the end cursors installed, I did not find the internet. I had to power down and try it again, and it worked on the second go. So Debian, we'll call this the graphical. Let's continue that. Domain name, no, don't need that. Root password. Now this time I'm going to do what I normally do, which is put in a root password. And I think that sort of messed me around in the last video. Full name. And colon for username, yep, that's fine. And a password for the user. Should be good enough. Western Australia. Now we'll do a manual install. So the previous install was just to pretty much show you the end cursors installer. That's why I did a very basic install. So this one will be a manual one. So what we're going to do is, SDA is normally, unless you're running the N.2 SSDs, they will come up as NVMe, otherwise your disk will always be called SDA. And if there's more, if that's been partitioned up to many partitions, then it'll be SDA1, SDA2 and so forth. So there's nothing here, it's a clean disk, it's a VirtualBox. So we're going to use that disk there. So you will be able to undo this operation later if you wish. So if you proceed with creating a new partition table on the device, then all current partitions will be removed. You will be able to undo this operation later if you wish. So we're going to create a new partition. Continue. We're going to be using the free space under the SDA, which is this one here. And continue. Going to create a new partition. Now I want to put 4 GB swap, that'll do. Four GB. We'll make it a primary from the beginning, and we shall make it a use as, double click that I did, and that'll be a swap area. Continue, swap area, and continue, continue. Yeah, what am I doing? Done setting up that partition. I always forget that bit on there. Bootable flag, no, so continue that. Okay, now we've got extra free space here. I'm going to create a new partition on there. We'll make it the remaining of the partition. And so if we was to say, for example, make a 6 gig to install it to, or say 10 gig to install it to, and we made it a primary, and from the beginning, and use as ext4. If you double click that, you get another other selection. So ext4 is what we want, and then done setting up the partition and continue. Now then we can do the same with the free space here and make it another ext4 for data if you wanted to do that. But what we're going to do here is this one here, delete that partition and continue, and then we're going to just continue that as create new partition and whatever free space is there as a primary, and continue ext4 and bootable flag, double click that, and bootable flag is on, and continue. Did I do it again? Yes. Bootable flag is on, done setting up the partition, and continue. So now we're going to finish partitioning and write changes to disk. Write the changes, yes we will, and nothing's changed until you do that, and there we go. If we wish to scan another CD or DVD, like in the first video, if you downloaded the second and third disc, then you would say yes to that. If you wanted to extract some software or drivers or something from that, otherwise it's a no. Yes, we want to use a network mirror from Australia, and this trusty RNet one here works well. Don't need a proxy. Do we want to be part of the popularity contest? No, not in a VirtualBox. So this time, on this occasion, I think I shall install the Cinnamon desktop. See how I go with that one. Hopefully it doesn't take too long to pull it in. So we'll see how we go with that. Install the grub bootloader to the master boot record, yes. And I will have to say that on the previous install ncurses installer and this graphical installer, we are doing this in VirtualBox under legacy mode. So that's why you would install the master boot record into SDA, which is this one here. So installation is complete. Let's continue that. Okay, so we're in the system. Let's grab a terminal for ourselves. So let's run as root. We can do apt update. Let's just say apt-get update. Oh yes, and we got our CD-ROM in there as well. We have to, CD-ROM is still attached, so we'll have to unattach that like so and reload that. And that's done, and let's run that command again and we should be right to go. There we go, and let's do an apt-get dist-upgrade. That's what I should have done in the first one, is dist-upgrade, and we are all dist-upgrade. Dist-upgrade, that's hard to say. So that's all up to date. No problem at all. So what we're going to do now, we're going to install the necessary things needed for guest editions. Build-essential module assistant, and DKMS. I'm going to do that before I do anything at all. Let's exit that and we'll reboot the system after doing that. Shall drop the scale mode down and in devices, insert the guest additions, scale that back up again. We can run, but I doubt whether that's going to run. Can't find auto mount. Yeah, that does that all the time. Auto run.sh, somebody mentioned we could do that. It's in media CD-ROM 0. So //autorun.sh. So we'll sh vbox Linux additions .run, and all is good. Autorun.sh didn't run. It gave me a permission denied. Okay, so let's exit that. Exit that and restart the system. Just type your name there, hit the tab key and put in your password. Now, if you don't see me clicking on these things, your host, normally in most occasions on VirtualBox, your host is the right control key. And then you just, for this one, Control F, put you in full screen mode. And that's very much it. So if we open our terminal again, I'm going to scale that so you can see it better, even though we have got guest additions running in full screen. It's very hard to see, so we'll do it this way first. su dash, put in the root password, and then we can nano etc apt sources.list, and then just like we did in the first one, arrow down, go to the end of that line, main contrib space non-free, main contrib non-free, main contrib non-free, so that all looks good. And Control O to save, then press enter to actually save it, and it says wrote 16 lines. Control X to escape from that, and then we do another update, apt update, because we are running as a root user, no need for sudo, and we are up to date. We'll do a dist upgrade, and we are up to date. So the contrib and non-free will help you get any proprietary drivers that are needed within Debian itself. The multimedia repos in the sources.list, and we need to bring in the key ring for that as well. I'll do that when I install on the main hardware and show you how to get that all up and running. This just to show you the difference between the two installers. Now, the other things you can do if you're serious about running this in a VirtualBox And like I showed you in the last episode, if you want to get a good experience from VirtualBox, you need to add yourself to VBox users. First you need to add the group add. Can never remember these things, do too many Linux things. Group add VBox users, and then user mod dash little a dash capital G VBox users and my username, and also the same thing for a group add for VBox shared folder. Add the group there. Oh, that already exists. And VBox shared folder, and add my name to that group, and that's done. So you should get a better experience when it comes to Linux sharing folders. I have got a video about that, and that gives you full access sharing folders, USBs, and passing it through the USB and all that sort of good stuff. Okay, so if you want to use the command sudo instead of typing su space dash, you can add yourself to the sudo list, your username. So you could user mod dash little a space dash capital G sudo and your name, your username, and that will add you to the sudo list. I think the other way you can do it is also you can just do dash little a capital G together. I think you can also do it that way. I think they both mean the same thing. I'm not 100% sure about that. I haven't done any research on that one, but I'm pretty sure that's the case. If we restart the system. Also on login you can press enter, not the tab key. Enter works as well. Use the capital G to add to a secondary group. I believe that's how it works. So you've added colon to the other group of sudo. I think a little g would actually create a primary group. Correct me if I'm wrong on that. So now we should be able to run sudo apt update, and we use our user password, and our user password has, and we can use that password for sudo commands, or you can which is Debian normally makes it su with a dash, and then you log in with your root password, and then you're running as root. Then you don't need to put sudo in front of anything. Normally that's how sometimes I run Debian. Sometimes I add the sudo because I'm so used to using sudo in Debian based systems and all that. It's just that's the way they're set up, and I'm so used to doing that. So I find that sometimes easier to do it that way. So that is the graphical installer for Debian. Very much similar to the Ncursors installer, not a lot of difference, just a little bit more eye candy in it, and probably more mouse friendly as well. So I hope you enjoyed the video, hope you found it interesting and informative, and thanks for watching.